Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Coach Cody podcast. So today I have a special guest, and that is my girlfriend Des, and we're just gonna do like a wrap of this dumpster fire of a year that I talked about in the last episode. So if you have not listened to that one, go ahead and listen to it. If not, we're gonna summarize it again, but with a dual perspective. So, Des, would you like to introduce yourself for those who may not know you? Like, if obviously, if anyone's been following me for any length of time, they know who you are. But for those who are just joining in, yeah, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me today. I'm Des, and I live like 150 feet from Cody.
Yep.
We've been best friends for I don't even know how many years now, because it's like I've lost count.
Yeah.
We've been together for almost 3 years, two and a half ish, 2 3/4. And yeah, I'm a mom of 2 insane little boys who are wonderful and drive me crazy and make my heart happy. And I am just, living my best life, trying to make it through. 2024 has been it's been a lot for both of us. We'll get into it, but it's just been it's been a lot.
Yeah, definitely been quite the eventful year. So yeah, I guess we could start. Basically, the year started off with my shitty decision. But, ended 2023 on like a really high note. It was a good end of the year, and was just looking to, take on the next challenge and take some risks, which I don't normally do, and unfortunately did not pay off. So if anyone didn't listen to the last episode, I invested in a business coach, which ultimately financially ruined me after $24,000 later. I just made my last payment last month, and we had quite the journey along the way and a lot of learning lessons. So where do you want to start in this journey? Like, where do you feel is a good starting point?
Well, I have to say, you definitely, I feel like you were on fire for life, like November, right? Like you had done the FCA program for the last 3 months before with the coach. Oh, I said it out loud. Can you beep that? You had done a program that, had really, you thought had really helped you and had led you to, trust this person quite a bit more. And you were on fire. Just really excited about business and building the things that you wanted to do. And you had just won your show. And we had worked really hard last year to get you through that show. And it was just such a really good year. It ended up really well. And then, it was hard to see how quickly it went south once that whole situation got going. It was the very beginning when you got started, and we just started seeing red flag after red flag. And I always try to be a probably too optimistic person. I'm it's okay, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I've always been the gullible, vulnerable one who's gotten really shitty things happen because of it. But I was trying to be positive and supportive, because you're my partner and I believe in you, and you're the hardest working person I've ever met. And so I knew that if anybody could be successful, it would be you, because if somebody tells you what to do, and morally you feel like you're okay to do it, you'll fucking do it, and you will work as hard as you possibly can to get where you need to be, and you always have. And so it was definitely hard to see how quickly things went south with that. And yeah, it just feels like it kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah. It was like, I think I was describing in the last episode I recorded, is like the red flags were pretty quick, but it's too late. You already signed on the dotted line and you send over your money, and you don't want to see red flags when you've just, signed your life away. Because
No.
how's that going to help, right? So it was just basically, some months of trying to ignore all that, trying to just like push through anyways, until it was no longer possible to ignore, what was happening. Because it just got progressively worse, to the point where it was just very blatant. And we had a mutual friend, or like, someone who I'd met through the, mentorship, that happened to go to our gym, which, small worlds. Like, what are the chances? And we kind of had a shared experience. So like that was validating.
Validating, but also awful, because you're like, fuck.
Yeah, because I was like, maybe it's just me. And it was almost like I prefer to just be me. But then we found out we were both just as dissatisfied and had very similar thoughts and experiences. And we're like, damn, it just made it reality. And like from then, it was just, there's no going back. And then it was trying to figure out, okay, how do we get through this? Or how do we find a way out? And unfortunately, like, there was no way out. You can't. This person is just very good at, making things very airtight so that you can't fight it legally. And I think once we figured that out, it was just like downhill from there. Because it's just like, I mean, you've seen how hard I've worked to even get to where I am. So it's just like someone swooping in to just, basically, like, I feel like take away the last like 4 years of hard work in just 1 year. So yeah. And I remember, like, when you started seeing the red flags, you definitely were like, okay, well, I'm just gonna make the most of it. I'm gonna get as much of this as much out of it as I can. And you were determined to make it work. You were so determined, and it just didn't matter. No. Because when it came down to it, you were not willing to compromise your morals. Yeah.
And when that became apparent, we actually sent the contract to a few lawyers. We sent it to a lawyer here in town, and then like one of your friend's moms looked at it, and just and then another one, I think you also sent it to, right? For so like 3 lawyers basically told us we were fucked.
Yeah.
Unless we had a bunch of money to pay a container for them to start working. And it's like, dude, she has it all. Yeah. And so that was a really difficult part, and I feel like we both spent that bitch lived rent free in our heads. Can you beat that out? For like all of 2024, because like we both lived in like problem solving mode pretty much 24/7 for most of the year, of just like, what can we do? How can we get through this? And it was really it was hard, and it was hard to see your you had all these dreams, and you still have them, but like I just feel like she stomped on them. Stomped on your dreams. Yeah. And I've always believed in you, and so it was really hard for you to just feel like to see you feel like I'm never gonna get anywhere. I'm done.
Yeah. And it's like part of that dream, like involved you and like us and our future. And so that's the part that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. It wasn't just this lesson learned. It was a mistake. But it was like, not only did it feel like, I was losing my savings, but it was like I was losing my vision, my hopes, my dreams, like, and not just for me, but for both of us. So I feel like, man, it wasn't only just like devastating for me, but I feel like I was like letting you down. And so like, that's why I just kept hitting so heavy. But yeah.
Can I just say, like, I'm not going to lie. When I heard that on the podcast yesterday, I definitely started crying because you did not let me down. You did not let me down. Like, shit happens, and there are terrible people in this world, and we just happen to be really good at finding them. But you did not let me down because despite all of the bullshit, you still tried so hard to figure out ways to make it work, you know, and there's no possible way you could let me down.
Oh, well, thankfully.
And I still believe that we're going to get there.
Yeah, we're you know, climbing out of the hole, hoping that, you know, we can still get where we want to be. But I feel like it was just like a punch to the gut, and, you know, like you said, we just have a really awesome way of just finding awful people. We should be like
we're
detectives.
Really good at it.
We could just like live our lives and solve crime.
We're so good at it. Like we're
like, we like you. That must mean you're a fucking asshole. So no offense to any of our friends. So far, you're not.
No, we love our friends. We have few friends, but that's really on purpose because, man,
because look what happens.
Because a lot of people really suck. So
that's one major lesson we took from this year. I'm just kidding. Well, not really.
Humanity is pretty disappointing.
Like, this year has definitely made it hard to like keep believing in, you know, humanity, and like there's still good people out there and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the depression part was like level 1, and then it was like this forced reality of this is where we're at, and, you know, having to do the TMS treatments, and like I don't know where to start with. Like, every step of the way has been an adventure that we have not wanted to be on. There was no step of it that didn't turn into this like thought of, is this am I on a reality show? Is this real life?
I thought we were being punked like for 360 however many days we've had in this year. Like, where's Ashton Kutcher?
He's with P. Diddy, so he's gonna be in jail soon.
No, but seriously, I agree, because it was like we would get these little glimmers of hope, right? It was, oh, we're gonna try TMS, okay, and then we get this lady that just triggers the fuck out of you every time you go in there and like belittles you and makes you feel like you're not depressed enough, right? And you're lucky because most people come in there not showered, and you're like, bitch, I don't even want to live right now. Why are you saying this? Like, It was hard to listen to. She didn't do it as much when I was there, though.
No, not as much.
She.
But yeah, so just for the people to know, like, I did TMS, and at first, so we got this technician. She was the main technician there that I had for most days. It started out fine. She seemed nice and friendly, but then she just started saying shit that, like, I feel like she meant well, but it was just super like offensive. And she wouldn't stay in her lane, basically. She's just a TMS technician, not a therapist. And it was like she was trying to be a therapist when she has no qualifications to be one. And she would say dumb shit like, you know, you know, what are some goals that you like? What do you want to do that you're not doing now that you used to? And I'm like, I've been doing the same shit because I had no choice. I think that's like the big misconception with depression too. Like, people only think it looks one way, and she's very much so thinking, you know, oh, I was lucky because I was still able to go to the gym and work and, you know, that sort of thing. But it's just like, I didn't have a choice. I can't just take days off. When you work for yourself, you don't get to take leave. So that's, you know, those comments, she just doesn't know, but it's one of those things, you just don't say shit that you don't know about.
No, because truly, high functioning depression is a thing. It's a thing, and it's very, very dangerous actually, because there are no signs, right? There are no signs. Nobody knows. Nobody knew on Instagram or anywhere else until you told them, right? Like, you were living life as usual, trying to just not let everything fall out from underneath you, right? Because you didn't have the luxury of saying, well, I need to take stress leave from work, or I need to go on disability, or ideally I need to maybe do like a partial inpatient treatment program where I can go every day and get like intense therapy and stuff. Like, we couldn't do that for you because there's no vacation, there's no breaks.
Yeah.
So you had to keep pushing full speed ahead, which is extremely, extremely difficult. And it's just amazing how you were able to get through it, because, oh boy, like, it's not easy. And then for her, it was tough when she would say things basically like, you didn't seem depressed enough, and I'm like, you have no clue. Like, getting out of bed was hard for you. There were days where it was bad,
Yeah, and it was also just like the hilarious part of it is that she was the biggest prude. So when you're in TMS, you're allowed to like watch something on little TVs they have there during your session, and one of their most popular ones there, the other tech said it, and it's just easy, like Seinfeld, you can't really go wrong with Seinfeld. And I remember I was just watching it one day, and I don't think you were there this session, but it was the episode about bras. I think Kramer was like doing something with bras. I don't think it was the bro session, but it was something about bras, and she could not handle it, and she was like so embarrassed that they were talking about bras. And I'm like, how old are you? Like, what is wrong? And so actually, like, fast forward a little bit, I ended up getting diagnosed with OCD. So they stopped my treatment for a month because they were trying to get me in to do TMS for OCD, which not ideal.
Out of nowhere, by the way. They stopped it out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And half of it was because my nurse practitioner / psychiatrist, whatever, I feel like they need a title that's not just nurse practitioner, because that can mean anything. Psychiatric nurse practitioner, but that's a lot of words. Anyways, so she was going on vacation. Like, she's going to be gone for 2 weeks right when this happened. So she essentially like, oh, you have OCD, I'm leaving, but we're going to like put your sessions on hold. And yeah, see you later. And so I had to wait like a month, and it was because they're trying to get me on to the next, OCD, TMS OCD, and come to find out, like, couldn't because insurance reasons. So I had to go back to just doing TMS, but then they started doing both sides because one was supposed to be helpful for anxiety. But they also like moved locations within this month, like not far, but it was like across the hall. And then so the main TMS lady had her own like big office. But I didn't see her again for like months. And then finally,
that was a nice break.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know, she doesn't like me or something. It's fine, because she just talks too much and says the wrong things. But then finally, I got paired with her again for an appointment, and she started talking about how we're no longer allowed to watch things on TV because people were watching things they shouldn't be.
So
talking
inappropriate.
About, like inappropriate things like sex and stuff. I'm like, is someone in here watching fucking porn? What are you talking about? Like, who does that? No, it was probably just Seinfeld because she's a prude.
It was Seinfeld.
But fast forward, she when she was talking to me about OCD, and she just like pushed me too far because she acts like she's this expert on OCD, but then because she asked me what are your obsessions? And I'm like, are you seriously asking me this question right now? She wasn't doing TMS, OCD. She was just asking me. And I was like, well, this is quite personal, first of all. And second of all, I just didn't feel comfortable. I didn't really know what to say. So I just was like, gave her some not specifics. And so one of the areas that tends to be rough for me is like religious OCD or what's the word? Sucralox. It's a big word. Fuck. I
Can't
don't
remember.
know. This is when I forget words. And anyways, religious OCD isn't just pertaining to religion, because you would think that I'd be cured because I am no longer religious. But it's not just about that. It could be anything moral, right? You know, feeling like you're a bad person, right or wrong still. It's still a thing, you know. Newsflash. You can still know what right and wrong is if you're not religious, for anyone that needs to know.
Is that part of like worrying that you're constantly being judged too?
Yeah, I mean, you
religious
could constantly just feeling like you're being judged, that you're a bad person, or even judging yourself, whatever. So I kind of just told her, like, you know, religious OCD is, you know, perfectionism, that sort of thing. And then she asked if I was religious. I was like, no. And she asked, you know, she pretended like she knew all these things about OCD. And then I asked if she's heard of like the different subtypes, and she's like, no, but I can learn. I'm like, what? Why are you asking?
Then what are you doing
obsessions
asking?
are? What are you like? You're pretending to be people's therapist essentially during OCD TMS treatments, because she described it being different in that they like trigger your OCD, because it has to be like a certain level to treat you. Like you want it to be revved up, not too high, but not too low. And then she's talking about how she likes to work through it with people and, you know, set goals and that sort of thing. And she just kept trying to get me to talk about it. And then so finally she, you know, asked if I was religious when I said that. And I was like, no, but it's not just about religion. And she started saying, well, you know, she told me she was religious. And I'm like, oh, yeah, shocker.
No shit.
And she talks about someone who she treated once who had religious OCD. And she's like, but I knew how to help them because I'm religious. And so I just started telling, like, you know, Bible verses, you know, to help them, you know. Basically, she was providing them reassurance, which is a big fat fucking no.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that for people with OCD.
She does the opposite of what you need.
Yeah. And it's just like, she just thinks that she's helping when she's actually making it worse. But the reason she's doing this is because she's not staying in her lane. And that's like the main point.
She's not educated. She's ignorant.
Yeah. And to top it off, I was a late responder to the first round of TMS. So it was just like a lot of waiting while also being on the edge, just depressed as fuck. So it's just like this whole year has been like a lot of waiting for, you know, yeah. And so finally stopped the TMS because it was just making my anxiety worse. I feel like doing both sides, and not to mention it's 5 days a week, at least an hour a day, with commute, with sitting in the office, all that stuff. And it's hard to do on a busy schedule. And
your anxiety got so much worse when you started doing both sides, and you weren't sleeping.
No. Yeah. So it was just like, I felt overstimulated. There was like this agitation, like everything just felt overwhelming. So finally we stopped that, and that did improve a little bit. Trying to think. Oh yeah. Started ERP therapy. And just ended ERP therapy today. It's like, here's the thing.
You didn't end. You're transitioning, right?
How many transitions do I need to make? No.
Oh my God.
But it's just like every piece of this, like there was this, I was trying to make the most of every situation.
Every single situation.
Almost like, you know, too far. Like I should have quit sooner. You know, with the business coach, with, you know, TMS, with the ERP therapist specifically. It was just like a lot of just trying to be patient, trying to feel like it was going to get better, that, you know, things were going to work. I just had to be patient, do the work, that sort of thing. But plot twist, like, it never got better. So it's been a lot of just like shifting. And I think that's where, you know, fuck it mode kind of came into play, because it's like just getting to a point where it's like, wow, absolutely every point of help, like basically begging for help, doing everything that
everybody that you've paid to help you,
yeah, has just dropped the ball to the point where I'm like, is it me? You know, like, and OCD is like, it's you. So yeah, so now it's just kind of like recognizing, you know, what's working, what's not, trying not to stick with it for too long, finding fuck it mode, and really just being like aggressive about my needs and if they're actually being met. And I think that's another learning lesson of this year, is like, it's like learning it's okay to have needs, and that sort of thing. And the OCD diagnosis, you know, it was like this blessing, also curse, because it's really debilitating. But also, you know, I've had really bad anxiety that I've had forever that I haven't been able to work through. So getting that diagnosis was kind of helpful, but, you know, just got to find the right therapist to help me through it. But yeah, like, how is that for you? Because OCD, it's all encompassing, like it affects everyone around you. So yeah, how has that impacted you? And
how has your OCD diagnosis impacted me?
I mean, and just OCD in general.
Well, you know, it's hard because I've known you for so long, and I've watched you struggle with anxiety, but you know, particularly this year has been really bad, and it was really tough because it was just like, what the fuck is like happening? Like, who, like, who? Why aren't people helping him? It was very, very, very. When I say that I have been screaming internally for the entire year, I'm not even kidding. Like, the frustration I have felt from like everyone letting you down, like as far as like the professional providers that are supposed to have helped you, it has really brought to light, like, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but I need to say this, like, how fucked up the mental health system is.
Or just the health system,
like,
in general.
In the health, the health system in general. I mean, it is like, we have fought to get you help for like 6 months now, you know, and it's just one thing after another. No, or just complete incompetence. And it sucks because you're willing to do the work. You are. And so it's just like, if we could just find the right person to help. We're working on that, though. You're working on that. But anyways, as far as I go, definitely it's been a learning thing for me. Once we realized that you had a OCD, it was almost like the puzzle pieces started to come together, as far as understanding what's going on, where these things are coming from, and also how I, as your partner, was actually probably making things worse. Because it's been a very interesting challenge for me to learn, because reassurance is like is like feeding that monster of the OCD, and that's something I do quite frequently, and so I've had to learn how to like navigate that differently. I've read like almost 3 books now on OCD to try to like better understand, and because I don't want to be part of the problem, I want to be actually helpful and supportive, but it's a different beast. Yeah. That you think you're being a supportive partner, but then you're actually just like feeding that shit, you know? And so I've had a lot to learn. But as far as how it's affected me, I mean, really just, it's hard to see the person you love most in the world not want to wake up the next day. It's not easy.
Well, especially, like, I felt ashamed of it because I'm usually someone who's, even if I'm not feeling motivated, I'm not going to show it. I just want to like, keep pushing no matter what. And it just got to a point where it was like I couldn't even hide it anymore. There's a breaking point for everybody. And I've always pushed myself through everything. And it was just something that I couldn't push through. I mean, I have not been able to push through my anxiety. Like, I've hit a wall. Obviously, I've gotten a little bit better. But, it's been a while since I've made a step forward with it. So, like you said, it's bittersweet. But I don't know where I'm going with this. So, but yeah, I don't know.
It feels nice to know, like, I think I feel so much more hopeful because now we know which way to go with it. It's just finding the right help, really, really and truly, like the right treatment for the OCD. And, it feels like we've been doing little exposures here and there, and the more we do that, I think the better it'll get. But it's harder for me because I have codependency problems, and so I've tried very hard to work on that and not bring that into this relationship. And so that has this diagnosis especially has taught me how much more aware of it I have to be. And so but ultimately, like, you are like the ultimate masker. You mask so well until, like you said, until you finally couldn't. So I guess I think it's an important thing to mention to people, like, check in with your people, see how they're doing, and don't just be like, hey, how are you? Like, ask them, like, how are you really doing? And if you ask enough, maybe eventually they'll tell you. But I mean, I think, it's just, it's been a learning situation for us, and certainly not easy by any means, but I feel like we're climbing out of it, but yeah, we have a journey ahead of us, and I'm just thankful that you're still here. I'm thankful that there is recovery possible, and that even financial recovery, like, it's gonna be okay. It's just been fucking painful, and it's felt very unfair, and it's been very hard to, like, hold on to hope sometimes, because you're just like, what the everywhere we turn, what in the actual fuck?
Yeah, which leads us, I feel like we need to tell the story of, like, the one chance at vacation that we even had this year. God. Like, I told the story a little bit, like, a while back when it happened, but to the point where, like, everything we touched just
everything,
even when we tried to be optimistic. And so we had tickets to, like, our favorite band. We've seen them before, and it's, you have those bands where you just don't pass it up no matter what. And so Wild Rivers, we went to see in San Francisco. And, with the craziness of the year and also OCD, what happens is I get very rigid. Like, the more anxious I am, the more rigid I become with my routine. I create my own prison. Any disruption is a lot. And it takes a lot to get me to step out of it. So even going to this concert, especially it being in San Francisco, so you have travel, crowds, routine disruption completely. Yeah. So we knew it was going to be anxiety provoking, and it was something that I was, like, working with my ERP therapist along the way. But we wanted to go because we hadn't had the chance to, like, have any fun. And this was, like, our opportunity. So we were like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make the most of it. We're gonna have a good time. At least we get to listen to our favorite band. And so first mistake number one, we brought the dogs with us because the only people that can watch them are my parents. I didn't want to, like, inconvenience them, essentially. So we found a dog-friendly hotel and just took along with us because we've done that before in Santa Cruz and they're completely fine. So we figured it would be fine. Then it just started to go south. Like, we got into the city and we're immediately like just stressed out because San Francisco, you know, it's stressful, but it's gotten worse. We've also gotten older, so maybe that's part of it. But you know,
there were people doing whippets on the corner. I mean, come on, like it was a lot. It was a lot.
It was. It's loud. You know, there's people
Very
yelling,
loud.
and you're just like, who are they yelling at? Wait, is it me? You know, honking, yelling. It's a city, but
The
also,
energy.
like, yeah, it's just different. And so it took a second to like find the hotel like parking garage. That was like first stressor number one there. Finally found it. You know, got to the hotel and just like, you know, Toby is. Oh, he was whining the whole way down. I forgot to.
He whined the whole
like,
way.
Tea kettle. Like, tea kettle is. It's like, can you imagine like your tea's ready, but there's no way to turn it off. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
That was the whole ride down there
For 90 minutes.
It's not that there's anything wrong. Like, you try to comfort him. It's just like he does it. He's done it since forever. But usually he calms down or like falls asleep.
Yeah, he does.
At least like an hour
Yeah,
in, and he
this
just
time.
did not. And
He was not doing. He was not having it.
no. And like going into the city, so there's a lot of people, and he likes to bark at strangers. So it was like you had to like hold him outside, and then we have Carly, who's a little like land shark, and she's only got like 4 teeth left, but she'll use them. So we couldn't have anyone get too close to her. And you're in a city. There's a million people, and they just are way too close. And so
Yeah.
you're off like standing outside while I'm checking in. I'm thinking, dear God, is she going to bite somebody? What I'm trying to like focus
true.
on just, you know.
Toby was peeing on everything.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm just like, we are the least classy people. It was a pretty nice hotel.
It was a very nice hotel. We did not belong there.
I felt like we were just these like hillbillies coming in a city. We're like, we're the country folk coming into the city. I mean, granted, there's people doing whippets outside, but we were still feeling trashy. But we wanted to be
So
more
silly.
sophisticated than the whippet people. So
yeah.
our dogs are not well behaved. They're just barking, and we're walking through the lobby, you know, with Toby being a little shit. And finally we get like in the elevator. You know, we're having to cross our fingers, hoping that no one's in the elevator, because then we just have to like turn in the other direction. Like, Toby's friendly, so we don't have to worry about him biting anyone. He's just loud sometimes. And then Carly, she's
loud.
quiet, but she's not friendly. So it's very mixed.
Quiet but deadly.
Yeah, so people are like afraid of Toby, but then they want to pet Carly, and you're like, no, it's backwards, the other way around.
We know she's very cute, but don't do it.
Yeah, she only likes her people that she lives with, and that is it. So luckily we got to the elevator, we got up to our room, and then we decided to order Chipotle because it's familiar and it's quick, and who doesn't like some fucking chips and guac, especially when you're stressed? So of course that's what we're gonna do. Our chips and guac were shit. Like, I'm pretty sure they were not real Chipotle chips. They had just gone over to like Smart and Final and bought the shittiest corn chips they could find.
Absolutely.
And then the guac was brown. Like, it wasn't even remotely green. It was just not edible. So we didn't get the chips and guac, and I was a little afraid to actually eat the food. Oh yeah, my stomach
That's really
was just,
all we wanted.
yeah, I was not having a good stomach week. You know, exactly. But also anxiety will do that to you as well. So, you know, we're in the hotel waiting until we think we should leave. We also had VIP tickets. And then I think that day, I got like an email saying that the VIP portion that we paid for was canceled. So it was like it was a meet and greet. And I think like a little like pre-show, where you can have them, you can request a song and have them play it and that sort of thing. And they canceled that. They partially refunded me, but I mean like partially, very partially. So we're like, Actually, that's fine because we were more nervous about the stupid.
We didn't really want to meet them.
No, we just wanted the benefits of the VIP. We wanted to get in early. We wanted to pick our balcony seats and have. Just
But we didn't know that it
time.
was. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
we didn't know that early was like 10 minutes before fucking doors open.
Yeah, it's like, here's your VIP experience. You get in just slightly earlier than everybody else, and we got a poster. That was it.
I was not having it.
Yeah. So we were waiting. We walk in, and like they still had the balcony part roped off, so we weren't allowed to go up to the balcony. And we just figured, okay, they're gonna open that. We'll go whenever it's open. And we waited, and they opened it up. And we go, and it's only for people who bought balcony tickets. But there were no balcony ticket options when I purchased.
No.
I would have if I saw it because
we are old.
Yeah.
We would not buy balcony tickets.
No. No, definitely not. So we paid like $100 more per ticket to have the same benefits as everybody else because we had to just go to the main standing room only stage, and that was our option for $100 more than everyone else standing around us. And so, Des, you can take it from here.
I was not having it. I was very polite, and I went up to the little the little table at the back of the concert venue where they let us in because we were VIP, and I was like, look, I get that they canceled the VIP and stuff, whatever, but they only gave us a partial refund. We don't even get to sit in the balcony. We have to stand here just like everybody else. Yet we paid like an extra $100 per ticket. This is not right. I was like, I don't want to be a Karen. I'm not trying to be a Karen, but like, can you see if anything can be done? Because it just doesn't seem fair. Like, can you either refund us our money and just give us the general price of the ticket? Because like, if we're going to be treated literally just like everybody else, then we should not have to pay an extra $100.
Yeah.
So, and they were very nice. I think they appreciated how kind I was with them. I worked a little charm, I'm not going to lie. But I was just like, y'all understand, like, we're old and we just want to sit down and listen to some music. But I don't want to stand here for 3 hours. And the least you could do is just help us get in that balcony. So they said, okay, come back in a few minutes. We'll talk to somebody and figure it out. And lo and behold, they managed to find some balcony tickets for us. So we worked our way up to the balcony and found some really great little seats and really enjoyed the opening act. And then,
yeah. That reminds me, I forgot a part. So, like, you know, the dogs are in an unfamiliar place. So they're doing a lot more barking than they usually do. Because any sound they heard, it was like, oh, someone's coming. We're gonna bark.
Yeah.
And you figure they'll get used to it and they'll calm down. And so they did when we were there. Then sometimes they howl when we leave abruptly. So I was a little afraid that they were gonna start howling when we were gone. But if you make sure to like say goodbye and like they know you're leaving, they usually are fine, which they were.
They're very good usually. Yeah.
Yeah, they usually just curl up, fall asleep, and they're perfectly fine. And
okay, see you soon. Carly loves hotels.
She does. She likes being in a little like new environment. She's all happy to be there.
Yeah.
But so we kind of waited out in the hallway a little bit to like listen to see if they would make any noises, bark, howl, whatever, and they didn't. So we're like, okay, let's go. So that's when we, like left for the venue. And I remember I texted my ERP therapist, being like, I'm like telling her what's happening, but also being like, I'm afraid my dogs are going to bark and disturb, everyone around us. And she's like, well, worst that could happen, they'll call you and say, hey, come get your dogs. So I was like, that would suck, but okay, yeah. And, sure as fuck, right, second song in to the actual performance, we got to see the opening act, but we got to see 2 songs of the band we were actually there to see, and I get an email from the hotel say...
Luckily, you checked your email. Like, luckily you saw that come up on your screen.
Yeah, because that would have been bad. But they were like, basically, your dogs, or we've had complaints about your dogs barking, and if you're not back by 10 p.m., then we will have to go into your hotel room and physically remove your dogs and keep them in the office until you get back. And it was just like...
And it was like 9:50.
Yeah. And it was like, who... Like, first of all, is that even legal? Second of all, you're going to get bitten by my land shark if you go into my hotel room. So we left immediately, 2 songs in. And I was just like, of course, this would happen, of course. And so we had to leave, didn't get to see the band. And we got back to the hotel, and, you know, we were kind of paranoid. And Carly likes to bark when, like, you walk into the room, like, when you get home. And it's not a bad bark. It's like a greeting, essentially. But we were just like, oh my gosh, we're going to get in trouble because she's barking and we're home now and she's going to chill. But we know we're on, you know, thin ice. And I remember you just like, we're like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to go home.
I knew you wanted to leave. I could just see your energy. I just felt it. You were like, I've got to get the fuck out of here. Your fight or flight was like it was activated.
Yeah. And granted, like, I had taken an Ativan, you know, because I was instructed to do so. It was part of our plan, my therapy plan, like take a Ativan like a half before and half, you know, when you get there if you need it, which is what I did. Wasn't like high out of my mind or anything. Can I tell this part of the story?
Yeah, you can tell it.
Okay. So,
damn it.
You know, going to concerts is fun, but there's also a lot of people. So I took Ativan. Normally, it probably would have been a Delta 8 gummy. That's what we tend to do if we go see music. It has a little bit of THC in it. It's not going to get you stoned in your mind, but, you know, takes the edge off things.
And you really enjoy it. Mm-hmm.
So you had a little bit of a gummy. And so when I said I just want to go home, I was just like saying that, but I also wasn't sure like where you were at in your journey of THC. And I was like, are you stoned or are you not? Like, I don't know what's happening. And you're like, no, that gummy didn't do anything, actually. I'm perfectly fine. So I was like, are you sure? And you're like, yeah. So we booked it out of there. Like, felt like it was just... I was like, I don't want to wake up here tomorrow and have all the neighbors...
We were out in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So we just packed all our shit and left. And I feel like even the hotel was kind of like, these people are fucking weird. And we just got in the car and we left. And like I told you, I was like, if anything kicks in, like let me know. I will drive, because Ativan, it's not like stony baloney. It's just kind of... You're chill. It's almost like the beginnings of feeling a gummy kick in, but it never goes further than that. Maybe if you took 2, but I did not. So little I know, like Des is like hauling ass home because she's trying to like race the gummy, thinking it's gonna kick in at any moment. And so,
the whole time I was like, is it kicking in?
She's if you gotta ask, it probably is. She's like so paranoid that it's probably is kicking in. But anyways, but you hadn't like eaten anything. Usually that's like the thing that makes it kick in. And so we're hauling ass home, and you know, as I'm telling her, like, we had to stop at one point because you had to pee, and I still just remember you're like in such a rush, but you're kind of like weren't telling me why you were in such a rush. And it wasn't until we were like in Sacramento, I think, you're just like, I'm just glad that gummy didn't kick in. I was just like, oh my gosh.
I'm so scared.
I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know what? With our luck, we're going to get pulled over and you're going to jail tonight.
Oh, I went through all the options that were going to happen to me.
I was
like, I'm going to get my kids taken away from me. DUI. Like, I went there.
Like,
but I wasn't.
Like
I was not
biggest,
high. I was not.
and it's not like a breathalyzer was going to do anything even,
No.
So, but I was just like, watch us get pulled over, because that is just on brand for this year and this trip. But that luckily was like the one thing that didn't happen. The other thing was I didn't shit my pants.
You also didn't shit.
Yeah, and that's always a fear, right? So I thought about doing it just to check off all the boxes, but it's a little
Thanks
too messy.
for not, though, because
yeah,
I wouldn't enjoy having that in my car.
No, I decided to spare you from that one and just like give you the rest
Thank
of
you.
my shit from the rest of the year instead. I feel like a little diarrhea in the car is a lot, less expensive and traumatizing than like actual shit fire of a year that we had. But anyways, I held it in for you, and
Thank you.
we got home, and then we left. 'Cause we were just like,
We laughed all night. What the fuck
And
just happened?
I was like, I can't wait to tell my therapist about this. Yeah, but we tried to find like the silver linings in that. Okay, well, the plus side is we didn't get pulled over, so you
right.
you didn't go to jail, and
That's right.
We survived.
Still have my kids. That's
Right.
right. We did.
all the things of OCD.
So all of your worst fears pretty much came true.
Yeah, it was the exposure of the year. And usually exposures are meant to show you that, like, your anxieties aren't real. So I don't know how much that helped. It was just like, damn.
Or maybe, but ultimately what you did learn was, though your anxieties might be real, you still can handle it.
True.
Right? And that's
Yeah.
one of the mantras you've been learning is, well, no matter what happens, I'll get through it. I can handle it.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah. We got through it. Wasn't ideal because we missed our van. But,
Yeah,
survived.
that's sad.
Didn't get put in jail. We will not take the dogs with us next time.
Nope.
But we gave it a good try, and we need an actual vacation now. So if anyone wants to donate
We're
to our
gonna get there.
GoFundMe, I'm just kidding. This is actually a pitch for you to donate to our travel fund. Just kidding. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so sorry, that was kind of a sidetrack story. Just kind of throwing in there that even when we tried to like do something fun, it just got poo-pooed on.
Life was
but-
like, no, sorry.
Yeah, but like with most things, there's always lessons to be learned. And at least we were able to like, I just remember that night because we got home at like 1:30 in the morning, and I just remember by the end of the night we were just kind of laughing uncontrollably over the situation because we were like, all we can do at this point is laugh.
I think there's nobody better to go through that than us. Like I was telling you how thankful I was for our relationship and like how our friendship, because like most couples would have fought and possibly broken up over all that.
Yeah. And oh yeah. So that was like, one thing that we were grateful for, and we ended the night on like a good note. We at no point got mad at each other for anything. We were just in it together, and I feel like that's what this whole
We make a
year
good team.
was. Yeah. So it was just
Literally.
like, yeah, it makes a huge difference when like you are able to work on things together and not play like the blame game or, because I feel like I felt very worried I was a burden like this whole year. And
Yeah.
so I always ask, I basically like, that's the one thing I'm like, can you give me some reassurance on this one? Because I don't think it's going to stop. But when you're able to kind of team effort through it, it can make a huge difference. I feel like a lot of couples probably would have broken up through this year. But you just, stuck by me even through all that.
Hey, I've had my own shit this year. We've gotten each other through this year,
Definitely tried. But yeah, biggest learning lesson, like try to take away what you can and still find silver linings, be grateful for certain things. And we came out, being grateful that we had each other and that we could always like find little pieces of joy throughout the dumpster fire. It was literally like if you're dumpster diving and there's a whole lot of shit in there that you don't want, but then it was like finding the gem. Maybe it was, like a diamond ring that someone accidentally threw away at the bottom. So it's like there's always that diamond ring to be found at the bottom of the dumpster, and we always were able to find it and come out stronger. And yeah, so
absolutely, I definitely feel like we're stronger from this year. Absolutely, 100%. It wasn't easy. Like, it wasn't easy. It was hard. We both had a lot of challenges this year. But I think that ultimately, when you have a friendship like we have and an understanding for each other, like being compassionate and empathetic and like truly just trying to understand where somebody's at and where they're coming from and meet them where they're at, like that's what we've both been really good at doing this year. And so, yeah, I mean, because I had that whole like scare with my health and just all kinds of stuff that was just crazy. But like you supported me through a lot this year, even though you were going through your own shit. So it's not a wonder that we're still together. Like, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, go team.
Go team.
In a way, too. Even if I still have my doubts where I'm like, are you sure you like still want to be with me? It's like, I feel like another big learning lesson was just, realizing that not everyone's going to be upset if you like aren't perfect or if you have needs or you can't
exactly
give away your everything to that person in the moment. And it was new for me because I've always been afraid to take up too much space or that sort of thing. So you just kind of showed me, what love really is, and so that was huge. So that's why it's like,
yeah,
these years that absolutely suck, there's still always positives to come out of it.
Absolutely. It was a year that we both learned that it was okay to let ourselves need the other person. Yeah. Because you can't do it alone. It's hard. It's really hard. And but it's also, we are both fiercely independent. And so asking for help is very hard, but we both learned that sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And you got to do it. And it's good to let the people that love you help you. So. Yeah.
Because if not them, then who? Like holding shit in only makes it worse. And you hold it in, it is literally like explosive diarrhea. It's just going to let itself out whether you want to or not. And sorry, I basically shat on you.
You're like, can this stop, please?
Yeah. Like, is there Imodium for my emotions?
So what did we learn? We don't hold them anymore.
Nope, you just let that shit go. But yeah, so what are ways, I talked about, did I miss anything I want to make sure, like, is there other shit shows this year that occurred that I feel like it's not over, like it literally another shit show, piece of the puzzle just happened today, and that is closing the shit show chapter. I think it's just, I had like injuries, my back pain. We did start the year off with insurance denying like treatment for my back. I had a surgery that didn't really help. So it was just like all these things just combined. You're like, you just want to throw your hands up in the air and be like, I surrender. That's all you can do. But
it was definitely a year of learning to control what we could, because there
Yeah.
was so much that we couldn't.
Yeah, and just like realizing that you're done taking bullshit from anyone else because it just doesn't serve you and it gets you nowhere.
Absolutely.
Like stopping trying to please other people when you have nothing left to give, or making sure that you do have your needs met, or you express your needs so that you do have something to give. And we're both kind of perfectionists in certain ways, so
Yeah, definitely.
talking about fuck it mode, I think we both kind of entered into that this year, and we're making that like our
Absolutely.
mantra moving forward. So how do you what does fuck it mode look like for you, and how do you see yourself moving forward next year with that?
I think my therapist would say no. I think that for me, fuck it mode means actually coming at myself with more compassion, because one of the hardest things that I've dealt with is how hard I've been on myself. When you mentioned the perfectionism, like that is it's a very real struggle with me, and it's finding the compassion for myself and understanding that I deserve grace and compassion and the love that I give everyone, and also that I deserve respect, and I should be more respectful of myself, because holy shit, I have really put myself aside many times, mostly all of my life, and so I've learned a lot about having to prioritize myself. And it's funny because it's like when you do that, you realize that it's actually for the benefit of not only you but your partner and your children. And so fuck it mode is really truly trying to truly recover from people pleasing and not just like hold on to that perfectionism that I just can't achieve. My therapist said to me the other day, I know this is shocking, but you're not perfect. Like, so stop trying to be perfect. You're doing the best you can. And just like, I have to remind myself that every day. But also knowing that like, yeah, we've gotten through hard shit and we could probably go through harder. I would appreciate a break, but we have gotten through it. And, yeah, I definitely feel less fearful, than I started the year off. Just knowing like whatever life throws at us, we can handle it. But yeah, I think definitely not just constantly thinking of everybody else first, and actually thinking of like, what do I need? What do my children need? What does my partner need? Like, but ultimately making sure that I'm filling myself up, because otherwise I'm just going to deplete myself, and there's nothing to give.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's also like a blessing and curse of being the best friends for so long. I knew you so well, and like I cared so much about, like you overextending yourself and knowing that you have like the majority of your life. And so I was always worried that I was going to be another person that you're just kind of like overextending yourself for. And it's funny because it's like there's, me, Cody, in a relationship with you, but then there's also Cody, who's your best friend. And so it's like best friend Cody says, what are you doing with this guy? Like, what are you doing? You deserve so much better. And so sometimes it's hard to separate from that, because it's like, as your best friend, I still want more for you, and like you feel like you deserve so much more. So it's different sometimes to be like, man, I don't know what to do here. Like, you deserve more, but at the same time, I'm like, please don't leave.
Well, that's definitely your own brain thinking that you're not worthy and that you don't give me what I need. So, that's just part of our inner dialogue that struggles to believe in our self-worth, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely I can understand where you're coming from, but I I just from my side of things, I'm like I'm in love with my best friend. This is the dream that I'm living the dream. This is a dream come true. This year has been hard, but there's nobody in this whole earth that I would rather go through it than you. Because like I felt safe with you, and so it's like it's not I never felt like it was all just on me, and also for real though, like you've done the work. I hate to be like cliche, but like you have really worked your ass off to recover and to make it through this. It has not been like I have not by all means carried like all the weight. Like I've been there when you've needed me, but like you have done the work. This therapy and TMS, people don't know you got to where this whole situation was like another full-time job for you. You were literally in therapy like 5 days a week. Between TMS and therapy, like you were putting in the work. It's not like you were just like, woe is me, I'm depressed and I got stolen from. Like you were fucking pushing yourself to the limit. And so I don't at all feel like you were burdened or anything. I just feel like, man, that sucked, but we got through it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for our future.
It just I couldn't help but laugh, but thinking about like the dumpster fire that was this year, and you're like, I'm living the dream. It's like you have that dream.
What the fuck is wrong with me? No, I mean, I'll be real. Like, no, this year, I mean, I'm on antidepressants. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real.
I'm on a
like,
lot of drugs.
I'm on a lot of shit. There's your real. No, but I've had to do some very deep work with my therapist in understanding my role and the appropriate way to take care of somebody and to support somebody through depression, and I've learned so much about not letting it control, like not trying to control everything, and understanding that this was really your situation and there was very little I could actually do. And but ultimately I'm just so thankful that we have each other and we're here. And like, yeah, it's been painful, and honestly, like I think we're both gonna grieve this year for a while. We have a lot of processing and grieving to do because it was very, dare I say, traumatic.
I know everyone hates
it was
everything's trauma, but it was.
No, but this was some legit trauma. But I think it's just like, at the end of the day, I still have you. You still have me. And that's really what matters, like the rest of it, it's like, okay, yeah, we went through that. Moving on.
Yeah. Let's
go build our dreams, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah. It's like at no point, I mean, I think, it's almost like our relationship just gets stronger. There's no point where it's just like, yeah, like we didn't fight. And I know that's usually like a red flag. Like, oh, you don't fight, then you must not communicate.
Well, we both hate conflict, but we're good at communicating.
Yeah. It's like the difference is, the reason I hate conflict is I'm worried the person is going to leave. But like, even if that's always like this little nagging voice, at the end of the day, we've always been able to like actually talk to each other. I don't feel that comfortable doing that with many people.
No.
But like with you, I don't have this fear that you're going to just push me away or like give me the silent treatment or not tell me how you really feel and like just resent me later. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's always a worry. But, with you specifically,
we've had our moments. They might not have been like all like knockout dragouts, but we have had our moments that have been very difficult.
Yeah.
So,
and we're not people who just like get in those types of fights where you just yell and scream at each other. We've not, even as friends, had anything remotely close to that. It's always like, like, oh, like I, feel this way, and we just usually work it out because we both take responsibility for it. instead of just being like,
we
well,
both blame
you did
ourselves
this.
so much.
Yeah. Like I'm over here like, oh my God, am I being too needy? And you're over like, am I doing enough? You know, it's like probably not a great combo. But we both have therapists that are helping us. And, you know,
We do.
You know, as your friend Cody over here, I know that you are someone who tends to, you know, like be codependent and stuff like that. So it's almost like this forced you to work on that, you know, more immediately than if, you know,
It was painful as fuck. It was hard not having control and not like being able to just like make you be okay. That is like a codependent person's nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I was always like, you are definitely doing enough. Like, I feel bad. And so it's just this, like, you know, we both had to kind of, like, over with my therapist, I'm working on being okay with having needs. And with yours, you're being okay with, like, not feeling like you have to fix everything. So it was interesting.
And being okay with having needs and telling you that I had needs.
Yeah. So it was an interesting journey of like both working on our fears because of what we're both going through in the moment. And it was just like this, you know, it is kind of the silver lining of we've worked through some shit we needed to work on anyways. It was just an accelerated pace because of the dumpster fire. So yeah.
Definitely.
But,
Definitely.
I don't know how, oh yeah, we were talking about fuck it mode and what that meant. But you know, I know this is like a fitness podcast. I don't know if we need to talk any. I was like, do we need to talk about fitness? But yeah, where should we go from here?
I guess should we wrap up with let's see the plans for next year, or
yeah.
I guess you've talked about it. Next year's
it's fuck it mode, but like I don't know if we got specific. Like I know, you know, we want to be able to like have an actual vacation together. You know, one that's
definitely a priority.
Yeah. So far we do have like one thing, but I know it's kind of like a work related trip, so we still have.
It's worked for you.
Yeah. Going to Vegas. But we need to have like our own little getaway. We haven't really been able to rest and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was different, you know, coming off of such like a high year. And it's funny because like even with the good times, there's learning lessons, and even with the bad times, as I know, it's like I've always struggled with like letting people love me or letting people in or being close. And I still have like one of the things that just like a way that I'd reassure myself is like I still go back to that moment where it was like, this is so stupid because I'm like, oh, it's all about me and me winning. But like my bodybuilding show day where like when I won, like I looked over at you and you were just like just as excited, if not more, for me in that moment. And I had never experienced like someone truly just as excited and happy for me, or just like at all. Like just
I was like jumping up and down.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, like she like really loves me. And for some reason, like that was the thing that
really
made it click. And so it's just like that's like the memory that my brain likes to keep going back to be like, hey, like, you know, remember this moment? And that was like this moment of like, oh, like that's what love is, you know, like she's like just as invested in my crazy dreams and goals, you know, and like you just support me regardless of my bad decision. It's like I just felt like I need to like apologize profusely for like putting you through this, but I don't usually do that kind of thing, but it just happened this year that I did. But
and like you said, you were trying to do that for us. Like, people don't know this, but you know, one of the reasons Cody was trying to scale his business, Cody has no interest in like getting rich, like being filthy rich or anything. Like he literally just wants to support us and I work a lot, and I have 2 kids, and he wanted to, not have me not have to work so much, basically.
Yeah.
And so, it was like, it was not like you just did this, like, just because, you wanted to get rich or something, and you were literally trying to build a life for us. And so, life, there's risks you have to take in life, and sometimes they turn out really, really shitty, and sometimes you strike gold. This happened to be one that didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
But we learned, and we know now what to look for.
Yep. And Des has permission to question my decisions from here on out. And
I think I'll definitely be more vocal from now on. But it's hard because I don't want to, like, not support you. But yeah, like, it's how are you supposed to know, right?
Yeah.
When somebody's so good at manipulating and just sweet talking their way into those 12-month contracts, how are you supposed to know?
Yeah. I guess by the 12-month contract, but, we didn't know at first.
Now we know. We know all the red flags now.
Yeah.
But we didn't before.
Yeah, unless it's a lease, don't sign a 12-month contract. But, yeah. So, anyways, I think that was enough learning lessons for the year. But did you have any, like... I guess we could end with, like, okay, quick fire round, all right? So what's one thing that made you laugh the most this year?
Probably our trip to San Francisco and trying not to get high while I was driving.
That was pretty good. How about...
What about you?
Yeah, it was probably that. I think that was definitely... Who knew that we could turn, like, a bad situation into, like, the funniest part of the year?
We're good at that.
I'll take it. Yeah. How about a favorite memory together from this year?
Honestly, like, I think my favorite times together have just been us chilling at home in bed watching our British thrillers and our 1,000-pound people. That's when I'm happiest.
Yes. For anyone listening, so we have, like, no in between. We go from thrillers to, like, trashy reality TV, and that's just what we like. It's what keeps our attention.
Yeah, we're homebodies and we love to do that. So that's really, like, each of those times it's been really good for me, Yeah,
same.
What about you?
Yeah, I think so too. Like, just all those moments where even despite everything that's going on, we're still able to, like, disconnect from it and just, like, be in our own little bubble for a second and still just laugh at stupid shit. So, like, without that,
like, truly enjoy each other.
Yeah. You just, how you have those moments where nothing else exists. You're just present. You're just there and you're just laughing at things. Like, definitely don't think would have survived without having those moments. So thank God for that.
Same.
Next thing, best binge watch or comfort activity. We kind of, like, probably just covered that.
We just said that. Snuggles and Netflix.
Yes. And let's see. Last thing, share something unexpected that you're grateful for.
Unexpected?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I've talked a lot about everything I'm grateful for. Oh, like something that I didn't expect that I was grateful for?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm dumb. I'm grateful for your OCD diagnosis. I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Because I feel like ultimately it's going to make life better for us because of it. Because now we know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think same. Just because, like, I think I felt so much shame. Like, there's still stigma and shame around OCD, but I think it was worse before because I just feel like something was wrong with me in that I was like, man, I try so hard to push through and, like, accomplish things. And this was just one area of my life where I just could not seem to push through. And so that's why, like, a main thing that I try to hide from people, like, even, try to hide from you for as long as I possibly can, until you can't. So I don't feel like I have to hide from you. And, luckily you took so much time to try to even just understand it. So that also, besides that winning moment on show day of, seeing you like genuinely happy for me, it was like you genuinely wanted to understand my asshole brain. So yeah, I was like, this year was shit, but it also showed me like, hey, this is love. Someone loves you. Like, accept it, bitch. And so I did.
Accept it, bitch.
Yeah. So, yeah. Silver linings, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
I guess we could.
I'm looking forward to next year.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a good year.
Knock on wood.
Got to go up, right?
I mean,
that's right.
Yeah. It's funny, I will say. Sorry, we'll wrap it up in a second. But so I'm a journaler. I like to journal. I was reading back on journals from this time last year, and I was in such a different place. It's painful a little bit, but at the start of this year, I was like, I'm gonna make this the best year yet, and I'm just like, I'm never saying that again, because whenever I say that,
no,
it goes to shit.
Yeah.
So
no, we're just gonna make it an okay year.
We're gonna make it a little less
be fine.
awful than this year. We'll go with that, baby steps.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll wrap it up.
Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for coming on. And, this is like relationship therapy episode.
Yeah.
But you'll have to come on more
if you guys
often.
like this.
Yeah. So for the listeners, I encourage you to reflect on your year, what you've learned, unexpected things you're grateful for, activating fuck it mode maybe for next year if you want to join us in the movement. I feel like it's a great year for fuck it mode because there's a whole lot of shit that we can't control,
That's right.
So fuck it.
Just do the best you can.
Yeah. All right. So if you like this episode, let us know in the comments. Do you want more? Do you want more dual episodes? Of course, we don't have to just talk about our relationship. We can also talk about fitness because, believe it or not, Des does have fitness knowledge. And, yeah, we can talk about that. And,
whatever else you want to hear.
Yep. So let us know in the comments. Give it a like, give it a share. Or if you hated it, you can tell us too. But go easy. We've had rough years.
Be nice.
Try. Oh yeah, I forgot. I was trolled at I got fucking trolled as fuck. God, in the height of my depression.
You got trolled.
I had that viral video that didn't help. That was the shit that I missed. But anyways, we don't need to talk about it. Thanks guys for listening. Until next time, peace out.